Good morning. Doing another random code stream this morning. I'm going to get right into it. Get the background music going per usual. And I think I have it on repeat. I don't have it on repeat. Do I have it on repeat? That means it's repeat. Yes. Okay. Whatever. UIs confuse me. That's why I don't code. That's why I don't do UIs. It's funny because when I started as a developer, you did everything, which is funny when the whole phrase full stack developer kicked in like 5 or 10 years ago, because that's what you did. Well, at least when I started, you built the UI, you handled the database interactions, you did everything. I personally think the idea is long past overdue to go away, because it's kind of a ridiculous idea. But that's just me. Anyway, I'm going to work on this issue that Rocky actually pinged me on. And he was fixing something with serialization in CSLA and said, hey, is your serializer going to break on this? And mine does, but not for the reason of what he fixed. What's interesting is I'm finding out with this serializer is just places in CSLA that assume how things should be serialized, and that, oh, sure, you can use your own formatter, but can you? Because it seems like there's dependency on serialization info, this thing in CSLA, kind of a dependency on mobile formatter in places. It kind of assumes that this stuff is just going to be the way you do it. And I'm not sure I agree with that. So you'll see what I mean in a moment. So serialization is also used in CSLA when you do a clone, or you do what's called n-level undo, or just you can basically create copies of your object, make changes, and then you can either undo them or accept them or something like that. The serialization is used, and so it's going to use the serializer the formatter that's registered. So mine breaks with n-level. For some reason with clone it works just fine, but with the n-level example it doesn't. And I know why. It's because when you serialize with n-level, there's an object called business rules that my serializer says, well, you don't implement my interface because nothing was generated for it, so it throws an exception. I'm going to have to change that to basically handle the case as well. Well, maybe it doesn't implement my interface, but if it implements iMobile, then I'll just create a mobile formatter and do that. I don't like that, but I don't really have a choice. I don't want things to break. So that's what I'm going to work on. So, and if I get done with this in time, which I don't want to curse myself and say that, because I could run into other stuff that I have no anticipation of and realize there's a lot more work than what I realized. So let's create a new branch. No, not there. Not there. Okay, so one of the things that I remember in my notes is, let's go to custom tests, and we're going to do this in integration tests to show the point. And I basically said, as a guide. So what we want to do is do something like this. Except we want to do a clone and then an end level undo. Okay, now let's go look at the tests that were created here. And what we want to do is we're going to get our data and we're going to create it. And we're going to do that. And then we're going to use a cloner, right? So our cloner is going to be equal to new cloner. Object cloner. And what's the deal here? Oh, we need to pass in a context. So we want to pull this out. We should have just used the refactor to do that, but oh well. And then we want to clone. Our new data is equal to a clone data, except we want it to be cast as data. I'm surprised there hasn't been a generic added for that. So, I mean, it's 6, 1/2 dozen of the other, it doesn't really matter. And so that should all be correct. So let's see if that one passes. And it does. Now, the end level undo is a little bit tougher because it breaks. And we don't need to get the context. What we need to do, though, is say here, data begin edit. We want to change that. Actually, we want to change all the things that we had up here before. And then data cancel. And what we want to assert is that all these things are back to normal, basically. Now this should fail. And it does. Good, that popped up. Yeah, and here's the must implement generic serializable. So where that's coming into play is here. The given object must be serializable. So when we do deserialize in a serialize, what we're going to have to do now is say, well, if it's not generator serializable, then what we can do is say if graph is a mobile object, a mobile graph, or derive from and then what we can do here use of unassigned local variable. Well, what we could do is reverse it. If it's this, then say else if is that else. Because now what we have to do is there should be a read mobile object somewhere. Except, oh good, we are getting the application context. So we can say return mobile formatter deserialize mobile oh this is the okay that's fine serialization string there. Okay, now let's split the screen and let's come down to where we do it in serializable. So if we say is this, then we take that, put it there. We're gonna have an else that. And sure. And so then we have the same message in both places. Okay. Now what we want to do is the same thing here. Is we want to say serialize. So what we want to serialize is the graph. There. Now, this will probably still fail because I have to reload the generator. Yeah, I think it's still... Oh, that's a new one. Serialization of type object is not supported. Yeah, this is where I was like, I didn't want to assume that this is going to be an easy fix because I knew it was going to fail in the business rules, but now it's failing on something else. And so we're getting to passing in an object, which apparently it doesn't like. So we get into serializer here. Here, let's pull this back up. Oh, we want to do a mobile graph. Let's try that. Still failed. Serialization of type object is not supported. Okay, well, that didn't fix it. So let's see when we're getting into this part. So it's business rules. And that works. And now we're getting oh, yeah. Okay. This is another spot where it's colliding. Because I think what's happening here is, if you look at the, and can you see, yeah, I think you can kind of see it. You can see here that we end up getting into, we get to begin edit. The field data manager kicks in and it goes copy state. Well, what it's giving us is graph get type full name. It's giving us a mobile list. But what that mobile list has, well, let's see if this passes. I'm kind of thinking it doesn't. Yeah. Because it sees that I have this custom class data thing here. Which the problem is that I have a way to say handle custom serialization of types, like a custom class data. If you look at that, that's just a seal class. It doesn't implement iMobile object. And in this test, we register how we can read and write it so that our serialization engine handles that. The problem is that by doing this, we're completely at the mercy now of mobile formatter. And it doesn't know anything about our approach. And so I'm guessing it gets to a point where it's trying to serialize. If I come to my test here again, and if I copy all of this, and let's just go to my notes for the stream today. Copy state. Yeah, it notices there's a list. And then I'm guessing it's trying to do the first one. And it doesn't know what to do with it. Which is unfortunate because I'm wondering if what I could do because this is only kicking in for if you do begin edit or cancel edit, or at least begin edit. And the way I did my custom serialization is that I basically say you have to register each of these this way. I'm wondering yeah, because we register options here but what I'm wondering is, could I put a params array here where if you want to register custom serializers, you do it that way, so then I know where you've done it. And then, but the trick is, Is this crap? What do I mean by crap? It's where you say you want to use a mobile formatter, and I want to add so if I'm looking at this type here, how far down do I have to go to get to it? I don't understand how CSLA's custom serializers work. I have to kind of look through their code here. I love it when Teams just runs. Okay, so these are all test methods. What is a Poco serializer? Because it's the same thing. This is a serializable Poco. And there's a Poco container, which that's here. So it has this thing here that isn't serializable the way you normally would do it, by being a stereotype in CSLA itself. So that makes sense. I just don't know what Poco serializer is. It might just be in the code somewhere. Let's see if I can just find it. Poco serializer. A formatter that can serialize and deserialize a Poco by using system text JSON. Okay, so that kind of makes sense. Let's take a look at this. So man, this thing is confusing. Custom serializers add a type map of an object, I guess. I don't know what a type map is. Passing in a Poco serializer for that can serialize. And what does can serialize do? It says, is the type equal to the type of the thing that you're giving it? Unless what you're passing... The hell? Well, what I'm thinking is there a way to say, if you register a custom serializer with my generator, you also have to have a way to fall back to mobile formatter. And so what you do is in here, you do those things, but then you also register this. The problem is my custom serialization engine is the registered one. And so if I come here, there is no way here there's no way that I can see here. Maybe if I do this, var x is equal to new this, x dot custom serializers dot add new type map. Yeah. And then so when I register the singleton here, I can say take X. Okay, and again, you may be wondering why I'm doing this. It's because I want to have a fallback option to having the ability to do custom serialization using mobile formatter in those cases where you have to do that. Again, once I get into the mobile formatter, I'm gone from the picture. Especially in this spot when I serialize. And at that point, it has no idea what could be possibly registered for serialization, custom serialization. Now, the problem with this is that I'm going to fall back to using the POCO serializer, which does system text JSON. So I guess what you're going to have to realize is if you need to do custom serialization and you're going to do end-level undo, my way drops and you have to make sure that you're serializable using that. That kind of sucks. Now, that will only happen, though, in an end-level undo situation, which is if you don't ever use that, you'll never run into that deficiency. So, should be able to say here now. Oh, crap. God, this is such a mess. The reason why I'm saying this is such a mess is because this is generic, and if I'd want to pass in a params here, I can't do it because they're not generic. Well, that doesn't make any sense of what I just said. These are all generic. How would I pass in something that would say, here's all the custom serializers? Right? Because at some point in my code here, I have to look at integration tests. I do a resolve. And so what I'd have to do is that crappy thing where this derives from an abstract class so that you can register all of them. Like this, public, abstract class. And then you want to make sure protected. And then this derives from custom serialization. So you can't create this. And then what you would do here is you pass in a params read-only span of custom serialization. Custom serializations. Now the problem, to further exasperate this, is that now I don't have type information. And so I don't know what the actual value is of the type parameter to custom serialization, because I don't know, I only have a generic here. And so, yeah, it gets to be very, 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 very messy in a hurry. I would love to be, if I could do that, then yeah, this would all be great and fabulous, but I can't. How do I do this hook so that it's actually going to work the way I want it to? I don't want to say, well, what you really need to do is you're going to pass these in, and then for each one that's here, I'll automatically cast them, but I don't know what to cast them to because I don't know, like, I'd actually then have to do some reflection to say, well, what... Get like your type parameter, get that type, And then when I create a new type map here, what I really want to do is well, it's an I-type map. It still doesn't help me though, because I can't pass in a list of generic items where each item has its own generic value. You know what I mean? And each custom serializer is just a list of these. What does an I-type map look like? And this is assuming that what CSLA is doing is it's grabbing those custom serializations from the options somehow. I don't know how it does that, but I'm assuming that's the way it does it. Funk of a type. Oh, that's a type itself. Right, because if you come and then you pass in a function, can serialize. Huh. I think I... This'll... Sorry, I'm thinking of a whole lot of things here right now, and I don't know exactly what the right way is to tie these two together. What I want to do is be able to say when you register, when you call this, that you pass in your custom serialization points here. But they're generic, so you can't do it. And so like I can't pass in an open generic here. That just isn't allowed, which makes sense because you don't know what type it could be. This just feels like one of those deficiencies in C#. I'll say deficiency, that's probably too harsh of a word to say, but where you want to have a list of things where what they all actually derive from is that generic type, but you don't actually know what the type is that fills in the type parameters. And the only way to get around it that I am aware of is to do something like this, that passes in a non-generic version of it, and you assume that what's actually in there is a generic version, a derived generic version of it. And that's ugly. I do not like that at all. But I can't figure out a way around it. Yeah, I really can't figure out a way around this. So I'm kind of stuck at this point, and I got to get to the day job pretty soon. I have kind of a path through this, but it's really, really ugly. And, well, it's fairly ugly. And I don't really want to do it unless I have to. Which would be to do this register the POCO serializer that it does. As I found out, the POCO serializer is actually just this, which implements iMobile serializer. But you notice that iMobile serializer requires serialization info. And also, what it's doing is just JSON serialization serialize. And so this is throwing in a stream. I don't get what this is doing here. If object is null, sure. If you can't serialize that type of object, does not equal serializable POCO. That doesn't make any sense. So what's interesting here is that this kind of punts. Well, maybe that's a little bit harsh. Your custom serializer can... Whoops, what the hell did that just do? Yeah, you could include your own. You could make, yeah, you're creating your own serializer. See, what I've actually done is I've created my own formatter. Binary formatter, yeah. Mobile formatter, custom serializers, and that talks about the POCO serializer, and that talks about creating your own serializer. I'm wondering if I could create my own serializer, custom mobile serializer. But again, I've got to tie the two together. When you register a custom serializer for my formatter, it also has to register a custom mobile serializer and get it into the options so that it knows about it as well. And that's the problem. I think if I can figure out that point to tie the two together, then that should be fine, because the serialization info, what I could probably do is just say, I mean, I could just fall back to a POCO, but I would kind of like it to do what mine is doing. Which is use a binary writer and a binary reader. Serialization info doesn't do that. It just has like an add value, or like you may have seen before. So it's a little yeah, I have to stew on this one for a while, because I have to decide, do I bite the bullet here and just say, yes, that's what you're passing in here, but what you're really passing in are custom serialization generic versions, and that way I can pull them out to add custom serializers for mobile formatter options, so that it actually uses, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of tie here, but I think I can make it happen, but I need to mull it over my head, and I probably need to message Rocky and say this all sucks. You know, and the reason why I'm doing this and working on this is part because I like source generators. They're fun, in my opinion. They're just fun. But it's also because CSLA is like, oh, sure, you can do all this customization, but you're really tied to mobile formatter. You know, like you're kind of tied to certain things that are by default in the framework, and to put in your own customized stuff, it's like gnashing teeth. If you really want to build your own custom formatter in CSLA, it really, I'm almost starting to wonder, even though I don't want to do that, I still like it that having that you get rid of the serialization infos, because you don't need them. That's the thing. It's like you don't really need them, but they're still there, and so it makes it problematic. Like I said, with my formatter, it implements serialization formatter, and that has no knowledge of there's nothing. The problem is that there's nothing on application context. What is local context? It's a context dictionary. I don't care about that. I don't care about any of that crap. What I care about is a way to get to but I would like to do that at startup. So again, I gotta just stop spend more time thinking about this and what the right way is to do it. So anyway, I'm going to stop the stream here. I will probably do another coding stream Saturday and or Sunday. I am doing a not coding stream, but a stream tonight to continue on with Outer Wilds, and I will probably be doing that this weekend as well. So at some point I have to knuckle down and get to writing some examples for some presentation I'm doing in Vegas. Flying is getting to be very concerning to me. So yeah, that's interesting. Anyway, I gotta also spend some time doing that in the next couple of weeks. But with that, I'm gonna end the stream. Thank you for watching. Whether you're watching now or in the future, please subscribe to the channel. I would greatly appreciate it. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, so the more the better. So I appreciate it if you did that. And with that, I'm going to stop the stream. Thank you all for watching. Take care, and I hope to see you in the future.